fighting my camera for the last like 10 minutes. I am officially live. This is my first ever YouTube live. And first of all, hello. I have not uploaded on my channel in quite a long time. I was just really overwhelmed and really overstimulated. I have been posting pretty frequently on like TikTok, Instagram, all of the like short form content platforms. But YouTube, I felt so stuck in a rut with YouTube. And so welcome back to my channel if you're new here, and welcome to my channel if you're new. I should probably start by saying my name is Caitlin, and my channel is gonna be taking a little bit of a different turn than I've ever kind of had it be on before, I guess you can say. Well, it'll be kind of similar to stuff that I've done in the past, but I am going to be focusing almost exclusively on sort of feminine energy manifestation content opposed to having a very like intense fashion and beauty focus. I just realized sort of at the end of 2023 that like I'm tired of just talking about clothing and makeup. It just really wasn't fulfilling to me. And around that same time, I was doing a lot of inner work and just going through like a massive shift in leveling up my life in all areas. You will know that if you have been following me along on Instagram or TikTok or anything like that, because I started a series of becoming my own dream girl in 2024, and that has been going really, really well. And after a long series of events, I am now working for myself as a content creator full-time again. It's something that I used to do full-time back when I was living in California, and then I moved to Montana when I was not working as a content creator full-time. It was really hard to manage everything, and now I'm back as a full-time creator and as a manifestation and feminine energy coach. I am not offering coaching quite yet. I have a couple more things that I'm going to be setting up, and so I'm not going to give any details yet, but I'm just really excited for the turn that my content and my YouTube channel is taking to like this brand new direction. So first ever live stream, I'm so excited. I will be really curious to see if anyone shows up, and if no, you know what, if no one shows up, that's fine. I just decided that I want to become someone who live streams on YouTube regularly, and so I just decided just start live streaming on YouTube and it'll be great. So because this is my first live stream, I've got my computer over here. I have no clue like what it will look like. Oh my gosh, I can see that I'm live. Oh, it's an ad. And I've also got my notebook here because I've got some notes on what we're going to talk about today, which is feminine energy. And feminine energy is a term that has been tossed around quite a bit on like the social media space, and just everywhere you go these days, I feel like it's feminine energy this and femininity that and divine femininity this and that. And I've seen just as many critique videos about feminine energy lately as I've seen videos about like why feminine energy is so amazing and so life-changing. And so even though I know this topic has been covered to death, it's something that's going to be very foundational for my work moving forward, and I just wanted to have this video up on my channel sort of as something I could always refer my viewers and clients back to if they need to kind of get base level training on what feminine energy is. And so like I said a little bit in the beginning, that's where my channel is headed now. So on this channel from now on, we are going to be focusing on leveling up your life to become your own dream girl, which I am so excited about. It just feels a lot more fulfilling and like I'm actually contributing something to the collective now that I'm talking about something more meaningful, like leveling up your life, embracing your feminine energy, being just the best version of yourself in all areas. So let's go ahead and get on into what is feminine energy. So like I said, I've got my notes here, and I kind of want to really get to the root of what feminine energy is, because even though I do feel like a lot of people know what it is, there are probably still quite a few people that aren't as familiar. So let's just go ahead and get into it. So in a nutshell, there are two different types of energies out there: masculine energy and feminine energy. And before you think like that's the silliest, most ridiculous thing I've ever heard of, like you can't assign a gender to every single thing, that's not what feminine and masculine energy are trying to do. So regardless of what your gender is or your sexuality or who you're interested in or what your aesthetic is or any of that stuff, you can identify as a feminine energy being or a masculine energy being. And so this isn't something that's super, super woo-woo. Like, so many different types of religions and different, religion is the only word coming to mind, I guess, like practices have different concepts of feminine and masculine. So I hope I'm pronouncing this correctly, but there's like yin and yang. And even in nature, we have feminine and masculine elements in nature. It could be the femininity of like a flowing stream, but the masculinity of the stream bed that holds the water. It could be the feminine energy of, a plant or something that's growing, but there's also the masculine energy of a structure required that are like the basic things that a plant needs in order to thrive. And all creation requires masculine and feminine energy, whether you are literally making a baby that requires masculinity and femininity, or you're creating a business that requires structure and flow. All sort of beings, ideas, things, all of them have some level of masculine and feminine energy. So this isn't super woo-woo, because I remember when I first came across feminine energy when I was at like a really low moment in my life, I was like, this is the dumbest thing I've ever heard of. And now here I am like 2 years later, and it's completely transformed my life. It's helped me heal my nervous system. It's helped me just completely change my life for the better. So we need both feminine and masculine energy in order to survive, in order to have a happy and fulfilling life. It doesn't matter if you're a man or a woman, you need both masculine and feminine energy in order to feel like you're getting the full life experience. So here's some specific sort of examples or explainers as to what feminine energy is versus what masculine energy is. I know this is pretty common knowledge, but bear with me here. So something that's in its feminine energy, it's in the energy of being. If you're in your masculine energy, you're in the energy of taking action and of doing. Feminine energy is feeling, masculine energy is action, and that could also be receiving is feminine versus giving is masculine. I'm just gonna keep going with all the feminine ones first, and then I'll do the masculine ones next, so it's not so repetitive. So if you're in your feminine energy, you tend to be enjoying the journey, you are in your flow state, you're leaning back, you are more focused sort of in your body. You're also more touched in or tapped into your intuition. Feminine energy is an energy that's a bit more intangible. Like, it's kind of harder to put your finger on, I guess you can say. And if you're in your feminine energy, it's also sort of the energy of being like a nurturer or a healer. It's the energy of being in your pleasure. And pleasure is an interesting word. It's something that I used to think was like super scandalous, but I now sort of live for pleasure in all areas. And that's a big part of being in your feminine energy, is like enjoying that first sip of tea in the morning, or enjoying the sunlight on your face when you're doing your hot girl walk or whatever. But to be in your masculine energy, this is more of the energy of having structure. It's the energy of pursuing, of leaning forward. It's also a bit more of a mental energy. So you're kind of a little bit more like analytical, and you're analyzing and you're planning. And it's also the energy of logic. Someone who's in their masculine energy tends to be more of a provider and protector versus the sort of feminine energy counterpart, which is a healer and a nurturer. It's also a very practical energy. And I'm hoping that I'm making sense here. So hopefully you can see that this is really two sides of the coin, and both are needed in order to have a balanced life. And so, for example, let's go back to the business example. If you want to have a successful business, any business, it could be like having your own nail art business, or like doing nails, or it could be literally like starting a marketing firm. You need to have both the masculine and the feminine energy in order to succeed. So if you don't have the structures of a masculine container, you're not gonna have like the basic infrastructure of your business. So like if you're starting a nail salon, the masculine structure would be like finding the venue or the location or the storefront of the business that you're gonna have. It would be, how you're hiring employees, how you're doing payroll, how you are, just sort of like the basic container that holds the nails. And then the feminine energy of it would be like, what type of nail designs do you do? What is the artistry involved? What does the marketing look like? So if you only have one and not the other, the business would not succeed. Even in just like your day-to-day life. And I'm gonna be speaking more for women here because I don't really have the male perspective, as I am a naturally feminine essence being. Now I've got a man that I rely on a lot to kind of provide that masculine container for me. But when I was single and trying to navigate life on my own, which is completely normal if you're single and you're watching this, let's see, some masculine things that I had to do was like get up at a certain time and go to my job and earn money and pay my bills. But in order to fill up my life, once I had that structure, I would fill it up with things that I enjoy, like reading and resting and being creative and dressing up and all of that good stuff. So moving right along, I want to go ahead and say that there is a huge variety of feminine energy. And I think this is probably a good time for me to mention the fact that feminine energy is not an aesthetic. And I don't know if it's just like the way that social media is these days, but everything has to be aestheticized in order for it to become popular, is what it feels like. It's like you can't have an idea without it getting assigned to an aesthetic, whether that's, you know, light academia or the coquette aesthetic or, you know, some other aesthetic. I had to stop following them because it was just getting to be way too much. But I think that feminine energy has been overly adopted by people thinking that it's just like, it's just being girly and it's wearing dresses and it's putting bows in your hair and it's wearing pink and it's self-care. That's awesome. I'm not trying to shame any woman who has those interests. I have those interests. But that's not what feminine energy is. It's not like, you know, being in your soft girl era or living the soft life. That can be an important part of being in your feminine energy, is relaxing and softening and leaning back and having time for self-care. But that's not what it means to be in your feminine energy. And so some flavors, I like to think of them as flavors of feminine energy. I heard a creator describe it that way once, and I thought that was so beautiful. But some flavors that you might have heard about when it comes to feminine energy is like light feminine energy versus dark feminine energy. So like kind of like the Disney princess light feminine energy that's all bubbly and giggly and, you know, baking pies and skipping and talking to animals, or like the dark feminine energy that's like the more like dangerous, kind of seductive, gets what she wants. Like I always think of Angelina Jolie and Mr. and Mrs. Smith. I feel like she's like the perfect example. Or like Kate in season 2 of Bridgerton. I think she was also a pretty great example of dark feminine energy. But I will be doing a whole series on different flavors of feminine energy and why it's so fun to play with them, and, you know, how you can embody each one. But the truth when it comes to feminine energy is it's meant to be fun. It's not meant to be something where you're like, I must only be this type of feminine. I've seen a lot of people on the internet have this discourse of like, well, if you get tattoos, you can't be in your feminine energy, or if you lift weights, you can't be in your feminine energy. There are no rules to what being in your feminine energy is, aside from kind of like embodying the energies of like what I just described to you, in the sense that it's being, it's feeling, it's being in flow, it's being relaxed, it's being so filled up and lit up and blissfully happy with whatever it is that you're doing. And if for you that means that you're, you know, an avid scuba diver, or you are playing paintball, or you are doing needlework, that's fine. That's all of those things can be in your feminine energy. You can be wearing black, you can be wearing camo, you can be wearing, you know, pink glitter. All of these things are valid. And I just noticed I'm getting really red because I'm a little nervous because it's my first live stream, and today has just been like the day of nonstop things going wrong, and so I'm a little bit flustered right now. So please excuse that. I get a little bit red when I'm nervous, but you know what? This is my first live stream and I'm killing it. So anyway, like I said, there are no rules. It's not an aesthetic. You can't put a woman down and say, oh, you're not being in your feminine energy because this, that, and the third. If she is in her flow and she's enjoying the journey, enjoying the process, and just fully being authentically who she is, she's relaxed, she's in her feminine energy. It does not matter what it is that she's doing. And so something that I actually wanted to talk about, and I think I put as like the thumbnail in this video, is why are women so masculinized today? And it's a little bit of a clickbaity title, but the reason that I wanted to talk about this is because this is a shift that I've noticed in my own life that completely changed the quality of my life. It changed the partner that I attracted, which is the reason why I now have the lifestyle that I have. And it's the reason why I'm now able to pursue my business wholeheartedly. It's the reason why I feel like I've honestly kind of aged in reverse over the last year. I see pictures of myself from a couple of years ago when I was heavily in my masculine energy, and I feel and look so much better. Like, I've seen videos of myself, and like the way I move my body has changed, and you can just tell that there's so much more like light and ease and flow back in my life. And I really attribute that to switching from being predominantly in my masculine energy to predominantly in my feminine energy. So here is my running theory that I've kind of pieced together from my own life experience and for what I've seen on the internet. And I think that in the name of gender equality, women have adopted traditionally masculine traits in order to be perceived as having the same value as men. And I want to preface this by saying both feminine energy and masculine energy, men and women, are inherently equally valuable. Being male or female does not change what your value is. Or even if you don't subscribe to picking, male or female, being human, being born, we all have inherent value. But in the third wave feminist movement, women understandably, wanted it all. We were sold this dream. I mean, I wasn't alive yet. I believe it was around like the 80s when women were like really entering the workforce and like full force and like being, CEO babes and boss babes and all that stuff. And it's just continued on and on since then. When women were trying to become equal to men, which we are inherently, we never needed to prove it, we started taking on these predominantly masculine roles of like, or traits of like, I need to be assertive. I need to be like a go-getter. I need to go after my goals. I need to achieve things. I need to hustle. I need to grind. I need to go. I need to be like tough. I need to be strong. And we are allowed to be those things 100%. We all need to be those things at some point in our life in order to achieve anything. If you're in your feminine energy 100% of the time, you probably wouldn't accomplish much in your life, which I'll get into in a little bit. But that is sort of my working theory on why women are so masculinized. And if you think about it, like, have you ever seen an older movie or heard your parents talking about like what dating used to be like back in the day? Like, we see all these movies and hear these stories of like, he's gonna pick me up at my house at 5, and my dad's gonna be there and telling him to bring me home by a certain time, and he's gonna pay for my dinner, and he's gonna take me out, and he's gonna romance me and write me letters and all these things. Nowadays, the dating climate, it's like, and when I talk about the dating climate, this is just like a subset of what I'm talking about. It goes way beyond, the masculinization of women goes way beyond just the dating realm. But nowadays it's like expected to go 50-50 when you go out on a date, and it's almost like you're doing a job interview where like you and your date are like trying to prove who's, more successful, and, trying to like interview each other. And there's just like no polarity anymore in like the differences between the sexes. I'm hoping that makes sense. Like, please let me know if that's making sense. But it's just so interesting because I feel like instead of, how do I phrase this in a way that doesn't seem like, I really don't want to use the word different but equally valuable because that has really bad connotations. But instead of having women and men have separate qualities that are seen as equally valuable, women have felt the need to be more like men in order to be seen as valuable. And I strongly believe that there is this prevailing myth that like women get to have it all. They get to be CEOs and good moms and good friends and have all of the things. When was the last time that you knew or met a working mom or talked to a working mom, like especially a mom of like children under 5 who was working full time and also like the predominant caregiver of their child that was happy? Like I don't know her. I don't know a single, and I know quite a bit of women with kids under the age of 5. I was running in the military wife circle for quite a while, for a couple of years, and I know various women who are, you know, full-time working moms who are miserable. Or when was the last time that you know, met a woman who had it all on paper, but her relationships were going 100% perfectly? And I just, there's only so many hours in a day. I firmly believe that in this like myth that we've been sold, that women can have it all and do it all, and women can, you know, be the almost swore, be the boss bee, the boss babe, and the full-time working mom, and she can relax, and she makes time for self-care, and she makes time for her friendships, and she makes time for her family and her hobbies, and her home is perfect, and she's got a perfect body. That's a big one. When was the last time that you met someone who genuinely had all of that and wasn't incredibly burned out? So I think that this whole feminist, I don't want to call it feminist, this feminine energy movement that has sprung up over the last like maybe 3 years or so is women's natural response to being fed up. I think there's nothing wrong with wanting to kind of throw your hands in the air and just be like, yeah, I actually do want to be in my feminine energy. I do want to be provided for. I do want to be taken care of. I don't want to be worked to the bone until I am burned out like crazy and I just can't stand my life anymore, because that's who I was. Story time. Oh man, I was raised as a very, very masculine woman. No one's fault. I love my parents to death. They were doing the absolute best they can, and I can't even pin this on my parents. I could probably pin this on, you know, society and growing up in a world where, you know, She's the Man was like one of my favorite movies. It's still a great movie, don't get me wrong, but you know, especially growing up in like the early 2000s, like early 2010s, there was this whole movement of like, you know, Megan Fox is in the Transformers movie and she's hot and she knows cars and she's a guy, she's one of the guys, and like, so growing up in that environment and being someone who was constantly striving for success in my schooling, success with my grades, success with my athletics, I think that I just burned myself so deeply into the ground. I experienced probably the worst burnout of my entire life like 6 months ago, where I was trying to be a good friend and be a good daughter and, you know, work my side hustle, which was social media, and work my full-time job, which at the time was at a bank, and have the dream relationship and have all of the things. And I was just moving through the world with so much masculine energy. I was overstructuring, overscheduling, never making enough time for relaxation. And I know a lot of women can relate to this feeling of like, just go, go, go all the time. Like, who has time to rest? There's always a show to watch. There's always a bar to go to. There's always a goal to strive after. And we're tired. I know we are so, so tired. So this is where feminine energy comes in, is we need to reconnect with this feminine energy. And this video, like I said, is just an introduction. I have probably 20 plus videos planned on how to get into your feminine energy, what's holding you back from getting into your feminine energy, the different flavors of femininity, and all of this stuff. I just, again, wanted to make this a new, or an introductory video to feminine energy here on this channel. So we talked about the myth of doing it all. One more thing that, like, I guess the last thing that I want to add on this live stream is, we talked about, you know, why feminine energy, or what feminine energy is, what masculine energy is, why so many women are so predominantly in their masculine energy and not their feminine energy, and what happens if you're only in one energy and not the other. So regardless of your gender, if you are only in your masculine energy, you are grinding, you are hustling, you are not resting, you are just fighting essentially through life. You are just like clawing at life. You're like white knuckled, you know, driving through life, just so intensely like focused, intense. And there's a time and a place for that. But if you're only in your masculine energy, especially as a woman or a naturally feminine essence person, you are going to burn out, especially as someone who has a female body. Our hormones are not designed to hold that type of behavior for very long periods of time. We are not designed to go, go, go like that. On the flip side, if you are predominantly in your feminine energy, you're just like a puddle of mush on the ground. You are just in your flow and you're chasing butterflies and you're, you know, looking at the wind through the trees and eating whatever you want. You need both in order to be successful. I guess one more example I'll add in here is any kind of fitness goals you might have. So especially as a feminine essence being, if you want to lose weight, you need masculine and feminine energy in order to get your dream body. You need the masculine energy to provide you with the structure, which is I'm going to the gym this many times a week. This is the gym I'm going to. This is the type of workout that I'm going to do. And I need to have this structure of what I'm going to eat, how much sleep I'm going to get, how many steps I'm going to get, whatever it is that you're tracking. You also need the feminine energy of listening to your body and, you know, eating something and then realizing, ooh, yeah, my body really did not enjoy that. We're not going to eat that again because that's not conducive to my fitness journey. Excuse me. We also need feminine energy for like, okay, what workout feels good? What would be a workout that would really just light me up and feel good and excite me to continue on this weight loss journey, for example. So I hope that I'm making sense here. I want to go ahead and give you the bottom line here, which is reconnecting with your feminine energy as a woman who is predominantly in her masculine energy, how I feel most women honestly are in their masculine energy these days. If I had to guess just by going out in the world and seeing all of the women there, I'd say probably like 70 to 80% of women these days are in their masculine energy or predominantly in their masculine energy. Take it from me, reconnecting to your feminine energy. It's not a trend, it's not an aesthetic, it's a lifestyle. It's an energy switch. It's a blueprint for how to live your life. It is how to achieve things with more flow and more ease and just feel so incredible as you move through your life. So the last thing I'm going to leave you with is I wanted to actually leave you guys with a journal prompt, because journaling, I'm going to have to probably make a whole separate video about inner work and, you know, the merits of different types of inner work and different ways of sort of reflecting and learning and growing. And journaling has been life-changing for me, and I think it's a pretty common inner work exercise, so I'm hoping enough of you guys can relate to this. But every video and live stream I'll have a journal prompt for you guys to work on. So this is something that helped me a lot in the beginning of getting into my feminine energy. I used to actually have an alarm set on my phone that went off every single hour and it had a little question. It was like, you know, are you in your feminine energy right now? Which is not possible 24/7. But what I want to ask you to do is do a little body scan. So what a body scan looks like, it's find a time to kind of sit with yourself. Hopefully you can right now as you're watching this video, and just have a little moment and breathe and ask yourself, if you had to guess, what percentage are you in your masculine energy or your feminine energy right now? So I'm gonna go ahead and do that. Okay, if I had to say right now, I would probably say I am 60% in my masculine and 40% in my feminine. And I am a little bit more in my masculine right now because I am teaching. I am watching this live stream. I'm making sure that nothing's going wrong with it. I have notes that I am, going over. So I am predominantly in my masculine energy at the moment. But if you are really struggling with slowing down, embracing flow, tapping into your feminine energy, if you have to, set an alarm on your phone, set a reminder on your phone every hour, just a check-in. It doesn't have to come from a place of judgment of like, are you in your feminine energy? That's not what this is about. Just put an alarm on your phone, and when it goes off, it's just a check-in, okay? And then when you're doing your check-in, the next question I have for you that I want you to journal about is, after you've figured out how much masculine and feminine energy it is that you have in your body, does that feel good to you? So journal this out. Does that percentage of your masculine energy and your feminine energy, does that feel good to you right now? How is your body feeling? Is it feeling stressed? Is it feeling tight? Are you, turning red like I am because you're nervous because this is your first ever live stream on YouTube? Are you, do you feel your heart pounding, or are you at ease? And so once you've figured out how your body feels, if that feels good to you, ask yourself again, does that feel natural? Is that where I want to be on sort of the spectrum of feeling like I'm in my masculine and I'm in my feminine energy? And if the answer is yes, if you feel like you have the appropriate amount of activating both sides of yourself in that way, great. I'm really happy for you. It takes a little bit of trial and error to kind of get to that balance. It took me probably like 3 months before I was able to like really tap into my energy in the way that I wanted to. But the last question I have for you after you've done your body scan and you've figured out where you're feeling and figured out if that's good for you, ask yourself, what can you do to bring yourself back to the balance that you want to be in? So does that mean getting more sleep? Does that mean journaling? Does that mean meditating? Does that mean taking some things off of your plate? Or on the other hand, does it mean ramping it up? Does it mean giving yourself a little more structure? Does it mean, amping up your masculine energy in whatever way feels good to you? So I hope you guys enjoyed today's live stream. Let me know what you think about all of this. I am planning on doing one live stream every week and one sort of official YouTube video upload. I don't know why I always want to call those sit down videos, because from now on all of my videos will be sit down videos where I'm talking to the camera and like teaching you guys different things. But over the next couple of videos and just sort of moving forward, so you know where I'm at with the one live stream and the one traditional upload video, I'm going to be covering everything from feminine energy, manifestation. Pickles has been sleeping next to me this whole time. Say hi. Can you tell you just woke up from a nap? Sorry, feminine energy, manifestation, relationships, finances, business. I don't know why I'm totally drawing a blank right now, like self-care and grooming, health and wellness, just sort of all of the areas where you could possibly level up your life. So I think that's everything I have for you guys today. Thank you for those of you who did come on the live, because I was super grateful to say that there was always at least one person on the live. That makes me feel much better. I see you. Hi, person on the live stream. I appreciate you. But I hope you have a great rest of your day, and I'll see you guys on Friday. Bye.